This is Regina and Midge, Glenn. So I'm going to start with you, Midge, because I want to go back in time. For you, where did you get your love of camogie?
I suppose it was at home in my house at the start because my father was a big hurler. And that's where we spent our time out in the field, playing a bit of hurling, as we called it. It was never camogie back then, but it was just a natural thing to do. But I suppose the hours and hours, there was no gadgets back then, Marty, so the hours and hours were spent up against the gable end beside the house. It wasn't for training or anything, it was for pure love of it, really. But there were 6 of us, so there was plenty of us to have a small match.
And have you adapted to the modern world, as you put it? Are you good on the texting?
Very badly, Marty. Very badly. I find it frustrating.
So you went to the school here in the presentation.
I did.
And you won. You had a good
teams. we had great years in the presentation. You know, nowadays I hear people giving out about the nuns and this, that and the other, and the nuns put mighty structures in place for us. And there was a priest there at the time, Father Martin O'Grady, who was widely known all around the locality, and he was a fabulous motivator. He worked with us, and you know, we won a couple of All-Irelands. I know we won the All-Ireland in 75 and again in 76. We lost it in 74, but we travelled the country that time, and they brought us around the country and probably spoiled us an awful lot, the camogie team, but we had great years. Back in the day, you were going nowhere really. There was no family holidays or no anything. So camogie was our big outlet. We had wonderful times, absolutely.
Was there one particular match that stands out for you?
There's probably 2, Marty.
Right, yeah.
In 75, we won the double in Croke Park, and we had 4 of our girls playing on both teams. And we tried everything to try and change the 2 matches, but no, they were going to be played on the one day. And that Father O'Grady, he was a very colourful character, and if I can repeat, maybe I shouldn't on air,
go on.
but he used to call them the bitches with the blue hair above in Croke Park. There was no stirring them. But in hindsight now, looking back on it, it created a great day for us. I always remember our junior captain, Bernie Duffy, she took the cup and she walked away and she turned around and she came back and she says, "We'll be back now in an hour for the other one." Always remember that. So that was wonderful. But the following year, we were playing the Downies of
Kilkenny, yeah.
And they were the heroes. We were listening to the Downies all the time, and the end of the match was a draw, so there was extra time. And I think we scored 4 or 5 goals then in extra time, and we won that. And that was a big. We were the new heroes then, and I always remember and treasure those 2 days.
So did you think as time went by and you'd have your own family that you'd be producing a mega star? She told me to say that, I'm going to be honest.
Sure, you'd be trying, Marty. I suppose when it means so much to you, you just want that same feelings for your children that you had. And really, at this stage of my life, when I look back on my life, they were the highlights. They were the days that meant so much to me. So just natural, I suppose, that you wanted for your kids. So they were all given hurls and whatever and hope for the best. She has a younger sister that played also until maybe leaving cert with a little duress. But after that, no. So she always says, nobody knows I'm in it at all. Nobody knows I'm here, because that was the end of it. So I suppose when you're involved in GAA, it's natural that they would get involved.
So what about you? Did you get it all from the DNA came from Mum?
I'd say it might be shared evenly. Dad would have been a big footballer and hurler as well in his time. So I think, and actually even when I think about it, cousins and everything, because the reason I started camogie, I remember my cousin Lorraine Glynn was going down to her training, and I think we had her plagued to go with her. Yeah. And eventually we got to go down to the pitch for a little bit, even though we weren't maybe old enough to play yet, and got involved. I think I started playing under 10 at 6 years of age, 7 years of age. I was just mad to be down and involved in it. So I think it was all around us, my aunts, uncles, everything. So I don't think we had much choice in it.
So you could say you were literally born with a hurley in your hand.
I would say probably, yeah. And if I look at what's happened to my own daughter, she was given a wooden spoon when the hurl might have been too heavy and graduated to the hurl then. So yeah, I'd say it was pretty similar in our house.
Apart from mom and dad, I mean, the environment here on Athenry is hurling, it's camogie now, in more recent times, let's say. What impact has all this had on your life?
I think it's been huge. Everyone talks about how much they've enjoyed camogie in the sense of community. Like, I can think of a very real example where there's 4 or 5 of us from our club senior team that meet up now 3 times a week to go running. And while we enjoy the running, I think it's more the catching up and the banter and all of that. So that's still, there. And, when I think about what it's done for me as a person, look, we had a lot of losses as well as wins over the years. And I think you'd hear people say it's built character, but we learn things like resilience, because you hear so much of today where people maybe aren't able to cope with when things don't go to plan and things like that. So all of that has, I suppose, really, really helped me in all that I do. But it's that involvement and everyone interested and stopping to find out how you're getting on and things like that has just kind of brought it all together really and made it all enjoyable.
It gives you a great sense of belonging, though, doesn't it? That
it really
you're
does.
Athenry and it has a reputation. Apart from the song and as being well known, there is, you've produced so many hurling stars, so many camogie stars. You must be drinking something here in the water.
I think there's definitely a sense of pride. I think you definitely grow up with that feeling, and to be involved at all and knowing those that have played before you gives you that. So I think that's definitely there, be it in the hurling, camogie, and sport in general is really kind of encouraged right through the parish. So much that I wasn't compromising on moving out of Athenry, so my husband has had to join me down here, even though Kinvara would be a stronghold in itself. So yeah, I think it's a great feeling of pride.
He's a lucky man, let's be honest.
That's it.
Yeah. You're talking about Athenry here, Kinvara,
I had to give them a mention.
Fair play to you, that's enough of it now.
Yeah.
Cut. So,
Marty, talking about that there, I have a niece, and when all our hurlers, when our men were winning the club finals back there around 2000 when they won, there was one day, and she was only 7 or 8, and her mother was driving to Crow Park, and they'd got up around Crowell, and this little one turned to her mother and she said, "Mom, what do people do who don't live in Athenry?" I always think it was a great, it put it in a nutshell really what you were talking about, that sense of this is what our life is.
And that's community. And this project, I mean, you've all Ireland medals everywhere here, but this project is huge. I mean, there's no camogie club that I know that has its own grounds. They kind of borrow the GA grounds. So this really is kind of an example of what the community is about, isn't it, to take on something like this?
Absolutely, Marty, and I just can't commend the group of people highly enough, the committee that are involved in doing this. It has always been an issue down through the years, trying to get a bit of ground to train on, and nothing, the hurling club or St Mary's and the schools and everything, they were all so good to us and supported us, because it just wasn't in the times, the lads got priority, that's the way it was. But they always did their best to support us. But for this group of people, I just can't applaud them enough that have taken on this. And maybe especially our men hurlers of Athenry, our famous men hurlers who have, what would you say, taken up the cause of their daughters, because it is time for equality for females, big time for it. And I'm so proud of them, all those people that have taken on this, and it's wonderful, exciting time for Athenry, I think.
It'll be an exciting year anyway, that's for sure, because I've been to the house, or at least to a house like it, and it's like the site is beautiful. You've got a location near the hotel here, so I think it's going to be I feel it's going to be a huge success, and I'm from the outside.
Yeah, I think so. I think there'll be definitely a huge interest in it, and like you say, it's not just the house and the car that you can win, but there's the sense of community and all that comes with it, and even to your point, the location of it, it's beside schools, it's beside us, the hotel here with swimming pool access, everything. So huge plus. That's why we're all going to be buying quite a few of those tickets ourselves, I think.
What's the nightclub like? Because if I do win the house and I'll be moving to Athenry, I want to know what the nightlife is like. It's good, I hope.
Oh, it can be. And I said that's probably why we might have a few defeats under our belt, I think. We've known about that a bit too often as well. But no, it's you're close to Galway. And Athenry itself has the
nightlife is
a good social.
I believe you, Midge, 100%. And come here, you're talking about resilience. I know that you had several defeats before you won your All-Ireland medal. I mean, that resilience is I think it comes from the soul, doesn't it? It's kind of come from your own background.
Yeah, I think it's just being able to get up again and go again and having those around you support that. So I think that's always been the way. We haven't ever, I was joking before, this mum goes, you better not now go too hard on me in this, but obviously the post-match analysis would have been done in a dressing room, and it might have then continued into the car and maybe at the dinner table and so on, but you might have had it that day, and then it was a case of, well, what can we get up and go at again and try again this year. And throughout our management and everything, we've always had it, and the players themselves have always wanted to go again. So I think that's kind of built a determination in the club throughout the years, and you can see it with the youngsters coming through again. They're mad for victory and they want it.
I know, Midge, you said about you're very proud of the people involved, but if this goes ahead, let me correct that. When this is built, right, because I've no doubt it will be, what impact will this have on Athenry Camogie and on Galway Camogie? Because I think there's a bigger picture here.
Well, I think it'll have a huge impact all around, but not only Athenry and Galway and everywhere. I think nationally, I think it's a huge issue at this moment in time, equality for females, and I think for anywhere in the country to see something like this done, and that it's possible to do it, and it gives you a bit of courage. I know, Marty, back when we were, say in our playing days, if someone were to say to us to me that sometime in the future you'll have your own grounds and your own facilities and that, I'd be saying, God, I don't know. And that's why I'm so amazed now at this bunch of people that have taken it on and that. So I think it's a great headline for everywhere around the country. And I think it's huge that they're, not the men are wonderful. I think it's huge that realisation is there by everyone, that girls or boys, they all deserve the same. They work as hard as anybody else, and they're entitled to the same facilities and the same treatment as the male population.
100%, and so skillful as well, Midge.
Yeah, and I mean it's happening in rugby and our soccer ladies, national soccer, and I see it happening everywhere. So it's it's absolutely delightful to see this happening at Athenry, and if it does happen, Marty, and I've no doubt it'll happen either, we'd be very proud that Athenry have maybe led the way for Camogie in something like this.
So how many tickets are you going to buy?
Go down to the bank now maybe and buy well, they give us a loan for a few, a lot of them. But it's a wonderful draw. I think it's a wonderful draw in that there are only 12,000 tickets for sale. That's not a huge amount, so the chances of winning, and there are, if you talk down along it, there are actually 19 chances to win. You have the house and the car, and you have the 5,000 for, but after that you have a whole lot more where you can win 1,000. I said for one ticket that's a 10 to 1 chance, so
buy a few more tickets.
That's fair all odds. So
there's a woman who knows her odds now, in fairness. I'm very impressed, mate. You've calculated this before you came to do this interview.
What are my chances?
Well, the very best of luck, and love meeting both of you.
Yes,
and the very best of success with the venture.
Thanks very much.